Hey everyone! In today's tutorial, I'm going to do a really fun technique that really has nothing to do with stamping. It's more about getting outside and getting to know some of the things that are living in your environment. These are some of the cards that I made over the Thanksgiving holiday with this technique, and I really had fun with this. I went over to my sister's house and we gathered some plants, both native and non-native plants, and we just made prints with our Big Shot. Now my friend Bev, who is known as Texas Grammy on Split Coast, made cards with this technique at my retreat, and they were so incredibly beautiful. She gave one to everybody who came that I could not wait to get home and try this technique with some of the plants in my environment. Now, you might not know this about me, but I am a very enthusiastic gardener. I do some square foot gardening, so we grow vegetables in our teeny tiny backyard using the square foot gardening method. And I like the idea of knowing where my food comes from. I especially love cooking with fresh herbs out of my garden every day. And so plants are something that I really enjoy, and I thought this would be fun to share. Now, I've made full cards out of some of the things that we experimented with, and I've made notes about which plants I use. This one is Desert Willow, which I thought was really beautiful. It almost looks like an undersea plant when you print with it. It has long, skinny, almost fern-like stems. This was from a persimmon tree in my sister's yard, and this was oregano. I will say that the herbs tended to be a little bit wet for this technique. They're really beautiful, but a little wet. These are from a species that's considered invasive. It's called a nandina. But I thought it would be fun to do prints with these. You're seeing positive and negative, and I'll explain that in a little bit. I thought it would be fun to do cards with an invasive species because I think when people can recognize plants, whether they're positive or negative in the environment, that's good. Firebush is one of my favorites. You can see this lavender color that came out of some of the tops of the leaves. I deliberately chose ones that had a lot of purple on them. I thought that the sage color of the leaves plus the purple that's starting to turn for fall was so incredibly beautiful. And I got so much detail out of these leaves that they just make spectacular cards. And these also emboss as well as just printing. And so the cards have kind of a fun texture as well as just a really beautiful sort of organic image on them. And finally, this is a Texas native. This is a mountain laurel, which gave a great springy green, even though it's kind of a waxy plant, and those don't always work well for this technique. But here's a positive and a negative of a mountain laurel, and I'm going to show you how you get those two looks, and you actually get them with just one pass of this process. You just need a piece of copy paper folded in half. You'll put one piece of cardstock down, and you'll put a leaf down. Then put another piece of cardstock on top, close your little folder, and this is just to keep the chlorophyll from getting into your Big Shot. And then you'll take your Big Shot, if you're using the multi-purpose platform, use it with all tabs closed. Put a plate down, put your sandwich down, and then put another plate on top and just run it through the machine. Whatever sandwich you use for using thin dies, that's what you want to use. And that's how you get the positive and the negative, because one piece of cardstock has the dark image and one has the lighter image, depending on which side of the plant you're working with. So here's a finished card that I did with this technique. I made tons and tons of these in just a few hours. And it's a great testament just to the world around me. It's sort of like a little time capsule of what's going on in Texas in November. And I thought that these would make fun card sets for people for Christmas, as well as good sympathy birthday or thank you notes to have on hand at any time. So I hope you've enjoyed this technique. Thank you to Bev for showing it to me, and thanks so much for watching.